Okay, and we are live. Get a better angle on this pan. Okay, so we're starting with our pan. I'll talk about that in just a sec, but I want to get the sugar onto the stove. So we have 1 cup of sugar, which is about 200 grams. This goes right in. And then I kind of like to just move it around a little bit into an even layer, and then we're going to pop it onto the stove. You ready to come with me? Okay, I'm going to set you up right there. Okay, and we're going to put this on high heat. Oops, I put you on the edge, sorry. Go up like that. That should be good. Stay. Okay, we're going high heat on this one. And watch that for me while I finish measuring out some peanut butter. But in the meantime, this process will take a little while to get started. But basically we are doing a dry caramel here, which means we don't add any kind of liquid to it. Obviously it's dry. And with this, we're just going to, as soon as we start to see it kind of do its thing, start to caramelize and everything, we're going to move it around a little bit, but really not do anything else to it. We just really want it to get that pretty deep amber color. And I'm using a heavy bottom saucepan. I cannot recommend that you make sure that you use a pan like that enough. I used one of my old like our family, like aluminum, you know, not super expensive pans that we had, and I actually ruined our saucepan because of making caramel, because it is such a high heat that you really need a heavy bottom saucepan to really effectively caramelize it without completely damaging your pan. So that was definitely a learning for me on that one. So yeah, I do a heavy bottom saucepan. This is a pan, what is the brand again? All Clad. All Clad is the brand on this one. And I have had no issues. I love this pan, absolutely. All Clad can be a bit pricey, but honestly, I just really love the durability of it. I got it at Bed Bath & Beyond like a long time ago. And yeah, I can't recommend it enough. It's really good for making caramel. And then I'm curious, has anyone here made caramel before? How was your experience? And what kind of caramel do you prefer to make? Do you like making sauces or little caramel chocolates or anything fun like that? Check the chat in a second. And I have done a video before, if you're like, oh my gosh, this is gonna take so long. Yes, it does take a while for the caramelization process to actually start. And I have made a few different caramel videos. I can make sure to add them to the description later after this video goes live. But, I'm trying to get my stuff over here. Okay. So, I can add those videos later, which has very obviously heavily edited to make sure that you're not just sitting there watching sugar caramelize. But I figured that I'm making some of this anyway, and it would be really fun to show you guys the full process unedited, because you know, maybe if you've struggled with caramel, then it might be beneficial to you to fully see a process from start to finish. We don't have anybody in the chat yet. Again, have you guys made caramel before? What was your experience? Also, just how's your day going? How's your week going? Do you have any fun weekend plans? It is going to be hot this weekend here, so I will be either in the air conditioning or in a pool. Okay, and then I don't need to start using it just yet, but here is my spatula. It's actually gotten a little bit of color on it from making so much caramel with it, but This one is also a really high heat safe spatula. I think it's up to, I want to say it's up to like 450 degrees or something like that. I also have made the mistake of using a tool to stir that was not heat resistant as much as it needed to be, and it actually started to over time kind of break down the top of it. It was a like a silicone whisk, and that thing did not last very long. So definitely find for caramel also a nice like stirring tool that is high heat resistant. Okay, what else? Oh, I don't know if I've mentioned it today. So we're making a peanut butter caramel. And fun fact, today marks 1 year of doing weekly lives with you guys on YouTube. So I think we've only missed maybe one or two throughout the entire year. Besides that, we've been doing this for a year now. Last year, the very first one I did was of a cake for my aunt. So it was her birthday. It's her birthday this weekend, which is actually something related to the peanut butter caramel. And so I made her this like really tall, cake that I had this idea for. It was literally just because I wanted to paint a buttercream scene on it. And so, and her favorite cake I make is when I take chocolate cake, vanilla cheesecake, and peanut butter ganache. And like those flavors together, she just loves it. She always says that my cakes are good, but that one's the best. And so I'm kind of doing a little bit of a switch up. This time I'm not doing a peanut butter ganache. I'm doing a peanut butter caramel on top. And I'm not making it nearly as tall because last year it was massive. It was this like, crazy huge cake. If you want to go check it out, it's the very first live that I ever did. But I painted like this buttercream scene on it because she loves lighthouses. So I painted like a lighthouse out of buttercream, and then painted some water and some grass and all that kind of fun stuff. So I should do another buttercream painting thing. That was kind of fun. But yeah, I can't believe it's already been a year. That's just crazy how fast time is going by. Check in the chat. Nobody in there yet. How you guys doing? It's just like you're tired this Friday. I understand. Okay. We're still waiting. After a little while, I like to see. Okay, so you can see it starting to melt right there. So with some caramel processes, you do not want to disturb and like move it around. But with dry caramel, I always do that. Kind of just move it, just make sure that some of the, sugar is not over caramelizing while other is not being caramelized at all. So I'm just gonna leave that in there. And what else? Like I said, this process is gonna take a little while, so let me bring it over to right here to show you our mise en place, which means everything in its place, or like, basically everything is measured out beforehand, especially with caramel. I sometimes, because I've made a ton of caramel, I definitely sometimes will still measure it out while the, sugar is caramelizing because it does take a while. But if you are new to caramel or you're still kind of shaky with caramel, have everything measured out in, their little bowls and everything ahead of time, because that means that all you have to do is add your ingredients. You don't have to worry about measuring things out at the same time, because caramel is a very particular thing, and you don't want to, once you get the process started, you want to make sure you have everything ready to go and lined up for you. So we have cream, which is going to be our first thing. So I have it also ordered, first thing in front of me is going to be the first thing that I add. So we have a 1/4 cup of cream. I can't remember what the milliliters are off the top of my head, and I don't think this one is accurate enough. Somewhere around, I think, 66 milliliters or somewhere in that vicinity. But like I said, I have my other caramel stuff up already, which should have the correct measurement on that. And then this is a 1/4 cup of butter. It's half a stick, and I think that's about 55 grams or so of butter. And then the peanut butter, I don't remember the grams off the top of my head, but it's half a cup. So basically, it's very similar. Whenever I make caramel, I do 1 cup of sugar to 1 cup of typically dairy, but for the peanut butter or cookie butter caramel, which is where this originally started, I do 1 cup total for all of this kind of add-in stuff. So we have 1/4 cup, 1/4 cup, half a cup. And then we have 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract over here. And then a little over half a teaspoon of salt is kind of like between half and 3/4. So if you want a more regular caramel, do a half teaspoon. If you want more of a salted caramel, do closer to 3/4 teaspoon. Let me check on... Okay, yeah, let me bring it back over. We're getting some more caramel action going on here. Okay. You can see that some of it's getting really nice and dark. And that's why we're stirring it, to ensure that things caramelize evenly. And also today I'm using creamy peanut butter, but you can certainly use crunchy if you prefer that. See, it's really going now, but we still have some big old chunks in there. But with the continued heat and continuing to move it around, those will break down. You guys have any questions so far? Caramel is very basic. It seems very intimidating. I was so freaked out the first time I made caramel, especially because it is extremely hot. Sugar melts at a very high degree, and I was so nervous about it that I actually wore long sleeve, like a super long sleeve t-shirt. Like usually when I'm in the kitchen, just, you know, to not be too hot or anything like that and be more comfortable, I usually wear like a tank top or t-shirt or something, and I was wearing a full sleeve covering up to like right here, and then I think I might have even had like gloves on or something because I was so freaked out about the caramel, you know, splashing up on me. And that was with when I used to do the wet caramel, I think is, I'm pretty sure that's how you rephrase it since this is a dry caramel. But you add water to it and then it really pops a bunch. And so I really prefer dry caramel. I feel like it's just, for me, it's easier. I like it better. It's less mess on the stove, honestly. It's just, ever since I realized you could do a dry caramel, I was very excited. Okay, we're looking really good. And also, if you have any sugar on here, I like to kind of, you know, try to mix it in there to make sure that the stuff on the spatula is also melting as well. Because you want to make sure that's melting as well, because if you do a certain way during the process, because sugar is a crystal, if you have any granules that are still on there, it could, you know, start to recrystallize the sugar in the container that's actually caramelizing right now. It's a whole, you know, chemical thing, so. Okay, looking really, really good. This is what we're looking for. We're looking for this really, really nice deep amber color. I think this looks good. I don't want to take it any further because I don't want it to burn. We definitely don't want that to happen. So I'm going to turn this off for now. I might need to come back here, but let's go over to the thing. Okay. Let me make sure my light's not above it because that's not good. Okay, so we have our caramel. We don't want to take it to the point, obviously, where it burns because that's just not a pleasant taste. But we also, I feel like so many people that when they make caramel, it looks blonde, if you will, like it has not enough color to it. And so that's why I like to take it to this really, really nice amber deep color to ensure that it has, you know, a better caramelized flavor. It tastes less sweet because of the caramelization. So, and now we're gonna add our heavy cream, but we have to make sure that we are not hovering over it, don't have any appendages or anything like that, or especially your face. No. So make sure that you're not doing any of that kind of stuff. We want to make sure that it's completely open up on top because it's going to release a lot of very, very hot steam and we do not want to burn ourselves. So we're going to pour and stir at the same time. And it releases a bunch of steam. Just keep stirring, stirring, stirring. And we can always go back to the stove if we think this is thickening up too much, or if something has trouble kind of, you know, mixing into the mixture, if you will. A little bit of cream remaining in there, but all the heat from pretty much is released. They're really like hot heat. Okay, then we're gonna add our butter. It's a little bit cold. I didn't take it out as early as I wanted to today, but that's fine. We're gonna melt it in here. And we're also gonna add our peanut butter, then we're gonna go back to the stove. Had some of the caramel sticking to it. But yes, be very careful. Make sure that you do not get splattered. If you get sugar on you, do not let that set. Make sure that I look up the protocols or however you do it, but I'm pretty sure you want to, like, you know, run under cold water, or no, run under some water to like help get it off or something. But sugar, because it can solidify again, it can like get stuck to your finger and all that kind of stuff. So while sugar is very easy to make, just be cautious of some of the things that can happen while you're making it, and you'll be perfectly fine. Let's go back to the stove. Like I said, I used to be so freaked out about making caramel because of the possible, you know, like injury that can happen. But like I said, as long as you know what you're doing and you're the right amount of cautious, then you're good. Okay, so we're gonna let this heat up a little bit again, because I could see it was starting to thicken without incorporating all of the ingredients. And especially that butter needs more melting for sure, of course. So we're just gonna keep stirring. How are we doing? Still nobody in the chat, I guess. We just have a quiet group today. That's okay, I know it's Friday. It's been a long week. Literally just keep stirring until all ingredients are completely in there. I can still see that that butter is taking a little while to melt, so just keep stirring. I have it on a medium heat right now. We don't need to have it on high, but low would take forever. I also like to scrape the pan, make sure that everything got, you know, mixed in there well. Some of the sugar did start to kind of harden a little bit, so but by putting it back on the heat, we'll make sure that we get that kind of melted, everything goes together, and it's beautiful. I have a little bit of sugar that kind of hardened on the spatula, but that's okay. I did mention this is for my aunt for her cake because, like I said, she loves the combination that I do for her of the chocolate cake, vanilla cheesecake specifically, and typically peanut butter ganache, but I decided to do a peanut butter caramel on top this time because I thought that sounded delicious. As I mentioned before, you can certainly do chunky peanut butter instead of creamy peanut butter, but I decided to go with creamy today because it's been a while since I've used that. And of course, if you want to add any texture, you can add some nuts on top or something like that, but and I have made cookie butter salted caramel. I've also made Nutella, but the Nutella really doesn't stand out. It's really hard to detect a flavor when you put it with the caramel. So just there's a heads up on that one, because you can definitely taste the peanut butter in the peanut butter caramel. You can definitely taste the cookie butter. The Nutella is shockingly subtle. It just kind of looks like a chocolate caramel, but it's, you know, supposed to be Nutella spread, or chocolate hazelnut spread, if you will. We're looking really good. I think everything is mixed in here. Okay, let's turn this off and bring you back over. Okay. So I've got all of our stuff mixed together. Now we're going to add our salt and vanilla. That bubbles up a teeny tiny bit, but nowhere near what happens with the cream. It's because it's such a drastic temperature difference between the cream and the really, really hot sugar. My dog's like, stop making caramel and pay attention to me. Okay, this looks really good. Everything is mixed together. So now we're going to add it to a heat safe container. I'm trying to not get out beforehand. One moment, please. Okay, so we're gonna scooch this on over. And I still want a little hot pad. Okay, so we have our heat safe container here. And we're just gonna pour it right in there. You're not gonna see it for a sec. I know. Okay, lovely. A little casualty back here with a drop of it. Okay, and that is it for peanut butter caramel. Any questions? Let me see in the chat. Very quiet group today, but that's okay. It's been a long week, I understand. So that's it for the peanut butter caramel. Then from here, I just let it sit. Usually I pop the lid on just to make sure it's not completely exposed sitting out, but I'll let that sit for about, on average, usually 20 to 30 minutes just to make sure, because it's very, very, very hot. And then once it cools down enough, obviously like handle the container, then I can pop it into the fridge, let it finish chilling from there. Especially because if you want to top it with put it on top of a cake or cheesecake or whatever, you don't want to put it on when it's this hot. You can always kind of remelt it lightly, like in the microwave or something, when you want to use it. When you actually have your base project complete and you want to add this for the top. But yeah, that's it for our really easy peanut butter caramel. If you guys have any questions, feel free to pop them in the comments after this video is posted. Let me know if you guys like seeing a quick and easy kind of topping or filling tutorial like this one, and I can maybe incorporate some more of those with the decorating kind of tutorials, or if you want to just see the decorating stuff for all the lives, then let me know that too. I obviously want to make sure that you guys are getting the type of content that you'd like to see for lives. So let me know all that kind of stuff in the comments. Also, let's see, our next tutorial video should be coming out beginning of next week. And of course, shorts every single day. And I will see you guys next week. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Thanks for joining. Bye.